Good morning, guys. It's great to see you, fellow operators there. How has your last couple weeks been? I'd like to hear the success stories first. What have you guys produced? That's been fantastic.
Me, nothing. And I had no issues.
You were busy making contacts in Atlanta. Gerardo, you have anything great this week?
I got involved in many other things besides routine projects that
What do you mean?
I don't think of anything. I mean, probably the biggest waste, time waster, business problems and details of running a business, but especially now, I don't remember. No. I knew about a fellow JETforce operator who the machine broke down, and they began to outsource their jobs to me. That's the first time something like that happened. So we're beginning. I think we received the package today for outsourcing jobs. That's a first for us.
Wow! So you've never outsourced before?
No.
Okay.
You might learn a little bit about pricing when you do that. You'll find out what your competitors are doing. That should be really interesting for you.
Yes, that's the first impact. How do I price this?
Oh my God! Can you do us a favor? Would you send us the estimate for what it is that you're doing from the outsource? We don't need the person's name, just their postal code. And then at least it'll give us a little bit of an idea of how they're working. And then we don't have to know who, because we don't want to, sell private information. I mean, if you put the name by accident, I'll take it. But if you could send that, we would appreciate
that. I told them, because it was an emergency, they have the machine out. They have a month without the machine. So it's been really hard for them to keep up. So they contacted me and said, "Can you help us?" And I said, "Yes." And I quoted them like a really low price for trade, but they told me, "Well, we charge that price for trade too, so it's okay." Well, okay, fine, but it's going to be a very interesting information for you, because in Mexico there are too little, or just 3 or 4 machines, so. It's going to be interesting.
If you don't mind me asking, how much did you deduct from your normal price percentage-wise for trade?
Oh, that's a great question. Like 70%. Too much. Too much.
Oh, too much.
Too much. Like it was like a favor for a friend.
Okay, but if you're using our software, then you'd have your suggested pricing. He would sell it at, and then you could work it backwards and make your full price and tell him what he should sell it at.
Yeah, but the problem is that he already sold the pieces because the machine broke down. So I don't want to affect them in the long run.
No, I understand.
That's awesome. What a great guy. I mean,
just let him know the repeats aren't going to cost the same, right? Because he's probably making more money outsourcing it than he was at his own place.
That's maybe the problem, and that's a very interesting point of view. We have to discuss it in the long run. And after that, she told me, the client told me, "Well, I'm going to send you 550 sheets, and if everything goes well, I'm going to send you 2,900 sheets later." So that I went, what? that's almost a third of the year's run on our machine. But okay, let's do it. We're ready to go that route and be a partner to you. So it's going to be interesting.
It's always important to keep in mind too. It could happen to you. So that's very nice of you, and hopefully it comes back on you when the time comes.
Yes.
So. Very smart.
That's something that I keep reminding myself of many times. Not many times, but when the machine breaks down, it's a machine. It breaks down sometimes when I have the need, and they're ready to take over. So one of the things that I wanted to ask fellow operators is one of the things that my technicians told me when they install the machine is everything is okay, everything is going to work okay, but the most vulnerable part of the machine is the PC, the computer. How do you manage, or how do you keep a computer, a vulnerable computer, protected in jet varnish?
What do you mean protected?
I mean, PC failures are very common. The power supplies, the software becomes corrupted. I always use a software called Active Disk Image. I'm gonna post the link in the chat. I always make clones of the operating system, of my images, of the firies, of everything. Hard disks crash, they become corrupted, and sometimes you're in the middle of the production and you put a clone in there and the machine works again. But in this case, the machine is so specialized and has so many controllers, cards, ins and outs of operation that it worries me sometimes that the PC will break down somehow, and we know how that PCs break down eventually. So
I think you're right. It's important to have that backup. If Marco might be better to answer this, but I know on mine it did go down 2 times, and there was a USB key that was loaded with all of the settings that we have, the scanner settings, the sensor settings. It saved all of that type of INI type file. And at least when you went back to ground zero and got your another computer in there, you could then load those files and the machine would be fairly recognizable again. Because I know when it's not, it loses those. It's an absolute nightmare.
But is there not backup that can be backed up every 4 hours or something like everything else? Or you
There
have
is, but it's very hardware specific is the problem. So the video boards are unique,
basically,
the cards are unique.
yeah, you just can't easily interchange with USB cards because they are dedicated. Also, the network card that are using for the AS scanner for the communication with RCBs and everything. Everything is pretty like let's say like Apple computers. They are really strict. No, they are really strict regarding the hard drives and everything else, the hardware. So, but in the standard procedure of the installing the machine, in the end is ghost image. You need, every technician should, after he set up the machine to production, do the ghost image of that machine to have it if you have some of the breakdowns or any problems. So it's a standard procedure to have the backup of the main drive. And if you want of the D drive, where is the images and everything, because you have 2 drives. One is hard drive is for the operating system and GVTI and everything else, and the other drive is for the images and job tickets and everything
So
else.
is it, and I don't know anything about any of this stuff, but is it possible to have another desktop setup connected that's kind of like the backup, that's the mirror? And if this one goes down, you take out your drive with all your stuff on it and put it into that one because the cards and everything.
Yeah, if you buy exactly the same computer, yes.
And how much is that
Exactly the
computer?
same.
It's a lot.
Ooh, I don't know the prices. of
And there's
PCs.
licensing. There's hardware licensing. Even when it looks for scanners and things like that, it needs, the license numbers need to marry up and match up. So any new hardware you've got in your new box isn't necessarily going to address all the right components. At least that's
Yeah.
my experience with my older model. Maybe they've improved that.
Yeah,
because
no,
I would think even licensing, if you're speaking to the manufacturer, MGI, like what's their disaster recovery plan? So there might be a way that the licenses are transferable in the moment of despair. right, and opened up.
Probably we didn't have any of those kind of issues in Croatia, Slovenia, or that I'm aware of in the region. But what can be, you probably can order because of the failure another part, hardware part, or complete computer, probably pre-installed from them, and then basically you just need to almost a copy installation of your GVTI and transfer your files. Of course, you probably should do another IIS scanner, not installation, the setup of the scanner to have it again, and probably nothing else. Because the good thing is also, if it's so hardware restricted, it's easier to move the clone of the disk to another PC. You know what I mean? So basically, all the network cards are identical, so the drivers are identical, or the USB port cards are identical, so the drivers are identical, and everything, etc., etc.
Gerardo, I would encourage you to ask that question of your manufacturer, whoever you're dealing with, because I found over and over again over the years, they never really have a good answer for you.
There is no plan, actually. There's well, you have to replace everything, nearly everything, for in the meantime to detect the failure in the machine. So an emergency plan of sorts, there isn't one. And even if they have the machine in stock, which is something that sometimes they don't have. So it's
probably your supplier don't have any of the machines PCs on the stock, because this is something that probably will not be on the stock. It's
so they were right about praying and having the best of luck not to let the PC fail, because that's the weakest link of the machine.
Let's say it, yes. But as I said, in the January will be 6 years that I'm in Konica, and with the jet varnishes, we didn't have on the jet varnishes machines, we didn't have none, but at least in Croatia and Slovenia, what I'm responsible for, we didn't have any of those problems. Yeah, with the problems with update Windows and everything else, of course, because with Windows you cannot not update, or you cannot completely shut it down, but not with the failures of any cards, or I didn't experience that for now.
I actually put the updates 5 years into the future, so the machine never updates itself.
Okay,
I know the risks of that, but actually to produce the technician to connect and authorize the licenses every time that the updates, it's painful. So
why to authorize the licenses of what? Of Windows?
Well, because the Windows updates breaks the registry on the license.
By the way, I have a computer if anybody needs for emergency. I don't charge a lot for it, but I could send it to you overnight.
No, but we didn't have any issues with that also. Standard updates in the past was problem before GVTI 3 point something. It was problems, and with the machines, when Windows do updates automatically, then the next day it was in some occasions you cannot start the machine, completely shut down, completely nonsense. But now they are much more stable regarding this, and because the new GVTIs, they have almost every time they have some improvement, at least in the connection RCB, ICB, or their firmwares and everything else. So
correct.
Yeah, but it should be updated, but also if it's everything working like it should, then maybe don't touch it. Also, yeah, this is also my experience with MGI.
You can do both.
Yeah, 50,
Adam,
50.
have you had any issues with your computer?
With my computer?
No, I haven't had any computer issues at all. my hard drive's getting about 50% full, which I need to clean out. And I think that might be causing some weird issues, but I'm not 100% certain.
Does anybody have a protocol for eliminating old jobs? It used to go about 6 months. I figured if I didn't repeat it in 6 months, I would delete it. How do you guys handle all of those saved jobs?
Yeah, that's what I need to delete. I'm just a stickler. I'm like, I got a lot of settings that I go back to, especially on different foils, and I'm like, I know I ran this foil and this job, so I'll go back to it. So I don't love deleting old jobs, but it's about time.
Yeah, as far as position and scans, they don't really hold well because the next one could be in a different position. But I hear you on foil release and temperature and speed.
Yeah.
Once you nail it, it's really good data to have. But
Yeah.
those jobs are huge.
Adam, you can create the templates, pilot template in GVTI, and then he saves all the setup of the machine. So you can use it for, let's say, pink foil. You can name it pink foil. So complete setup of the job ticket is inside. Overlaps, temperatures, vacuums, speeds, everything is basically inside, and you have then the templates. You don't need to remember what was the last job that you used. You can create it as a pilot template.
Yeah, I use the templates, but I just need to delete files. But the templates are extremely helpful.
The templates are a time saver when you're doing VDP. When all you have 3,000 files, you just click on the template and everything is correct.
Yeah.
Any cool looking jobs you did this week, Adam?
Yeah, I actually brought a poster with me.
Ooh.
Finished it yesterday. It came out pretty good. It's for ECU.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is
Nice.
fantastic.
Nice.
Eastern Carolina.
It was 3 passes.
Wow.
Dude, that's amazing.
Is that Liberty purple that you found?
Yep.
Wow.
Oof.
Wow, that's a great purple. That is a great purple.
What were your challenges with it?
This right here.
The foil on foil?
No, that tiny skull.
Yeah. Wow. And I like the background. So let me ask you a question on that, Adam. Did you design that for them, or did they know how to design for it?
No, they did all the design and all the layers and
Wow.
everything. I ran the machine.
That's a really well designed poster. Typically,
Oh yeah, it was one of my favorite. But around what they, where the jet varnish comes in is I had to, because they were wanting to outline that purple with that gold.
Nice.
So I had to minus, luckily that was big enough. So I had to minus like 8 pixels to get that to not touch that gold foil.
What did you do to pick up that fine detail on the skull? Did you?
Oh, I zoomed in and tweaked that for about 30 minutes. I had to do all kinds of stuff to that.
Okay.
wow.
How many microns did you end up running at?
I believe I'm at 31 on that. I'm at 31, and then I did a 10% screen on what we call ghosting.
I like that. That's a good look.
And is that laminated before you started?
Yeah, soft touch laminate. So printed on the KM1, soft touch laminate. The gold foil first, purple foil second, and the ghost varnish last.
And what is it, an event that they're doing? Is it like a party? What's the actual vertical? I mean, what are they trying to do?
We have no clue. I mean, it's got a date on it, but and they didn't do a ton. I mean, they did 25, 30. So I'm guessing it's a special event for something. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it took me about 3 hours to where I felt comfortable with the way it looked for 25 posters.
Well, you know what? I hope you kept a couple, because you should definitely submit those to awards. That's an award winner right there. So FSCA, you should definitely submit to the FSCA Gold Leaf, and definitely for the Pinnacle Print Awards next year. So keep that in the awards pile. If you
Yeah,
can.
I've got a few of them.
Adam, whose foil did you use?
The purples, like I said, Liberty. Gold is Kerrs, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And mixing foils is never an issue from manufacturers.
No, not for me. I have several. I think I have 7 different manufacturers or something, and they all act differently.
Yeah.
But that Liberty purple,
It pops.
it's easy.
Oh, it's
easy
easy.
to use, and
No way.
it works for tiny type. It works for bigger areas.
On what temperature do you use it?
I usually stick around 130 Celsius, 120, 130 Celsius.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you had to pick your top 3 easiest foil manufacturers, who would you pick?
Well, it depends on my substrate, but I like Kerrs is my pretty much go-to, because 1, I think they're the cheapest, and 2, that it works really well.
Yeah.
But Kerrs, if you're running an indigo, the Kerrs foil sticks to the ink easily. So it's almost impossible to use Kerrs foil with a raw indigo sheet.
Unless you laminate.
Unless you laminate, yeah.
Right.
But
Basically, sorry.
I have a.
Sorry for interruption. Basically, you should find for the indigo or that problems, you should find the foil that you have lower temperature. And then you will probably don't have those problems. If you are around the 100, 105, maybe it could settle problems directly on indigo or similar toner problems on those. Because when you go with the temperature, you heat up the indigo print, and then it can stick the foil on.
Yeah.
Marco, what isn't MGI and or Konica working with a foil that's about 100 degrees Celsius now? I've heard that was either on its way out or is out now.
Yeah, we heard about this.
Yeah.
Too.
On a small, I tested now on a small eye foil 1, the smallest one for the 3D one or a Curio Shine. I worked with 105 degrees. In the past, I do on a big eye foil like Adams for the B2, B1 machine. I also use 120, 125, 130, dependable of the foil and the date of the foil, production date of the foil and everything. But yeah, on the small machine, the batch of now the batch is Series M for the MGI foils we were working on 105 degrees Celsius.
Adam, I know with my HP, that imaging oils never was really out of that product for the first 24 to 48 hours. And I understand you probably don't get a whole lot more lead time than that on jobs. But there's been times I've actually slid it outside for a day and then brought it in. And I was able to far more successfully foil without it sticking to the print. But that imaging oil, especially on heavy builds, can be trapped in there for days. And it just doesn't take much to heat it up when it still has imaging oil in it.
Ken, can you just clarify what you just said? You'd put your prints outside?
Well, I mean, in Arizona, it was really hot, right? And the idea is to get the way the indigo prints is there's imaging oil in the ink. and it hits a 365-degree blanket. And the idea of the whole print behind indigo is that imaging oil evaporates during print and becomes somewhat solid. But on heavy builds, anything over 200%, especially full yellow on full magenta to get your reds, it wouldn't ever really dry. You could get gas ghosting up to 2 days from that. So all I do is slide the drying rack outside and let the 100-degree heat hit it and allow it to evaporate more and more of that imaging oil. And then I was much more successful putting it through the jet varnish, even for varnish, because it changed the dye level of the ink when it was more fully cured.
Yeah.
Wow, you baked it. That's great. Wow. Gerardo, I wish I'm going to screenshot your face because you just look like you're super confused.
Yeah, I never used there are few indigos here in Mexico, but because of the nightmarish stories and support too, so that's a problem. And I begin to hear all the extra steps you need to take care of when using indigo printed sheets. It's the thing.
Yeah,
I wish it was
rule,
unique, but it really isn't. I mean, even the Konica boxes, they all have their idiosyncrasies, and they all need to be managed in one way or another. So don't sell anything. Don't sell indigo short. The stuff it prints is just phenomenal, but it does come with its own unique list.
Yeah,
Adam, you were going to say?
Yeah, our rule here at the shop is, I mean, if we're doing varnish only and we can get it on the indigo, that's our number one choice because, like you said, it's a beautiful print. Varnish does great, but if we're foiling, we kind of steer clear from the indigo because we have the KM1 that's readily available as well. And the KM1 is the UV ink, and there's no issues at all with foil.
But Gerardo, the one unique thing about that indigo is it still prints that good old-fashioned rosette, and the detail is just phenomenal. So, like Adam said, you want quality.
Yeah,
there's nothing better than an indigo as far as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
the inkjets are getting close, but it's still a standard.
Yes, I guess that's true too.
Well, that time has gone fast, guys. As usual.
Wow.
Great issues, great topics. Wow, I learned a lot. I've got a long list of notes here, so I learned from you guys. It's phenomenal. Thank you.
Me too, and I know nothing about this.
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Ken, thanks for hosting a really interesting discussion. We are going to look to set up another 2 meetings next month. Maybe we're going to go a little bit later. Would that make it easier for both you, Adam, and Gerardo, if we were to do this an hour later?
What about me?
You're good either way. I know you're up at like 4 a.m. anyway.
I'm okay with 9 because that's what time the company meeting happens that I don't have to be at. So,
true leader.
All right. Well, anybody, let us know in the comments if you're watching this video what time would be the best for everybody to be able to make it. And in the meantime, guys, thank you again for this great discussion, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Great day.
Bye.